Welcome to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.
Hi, you're listening to the Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. We have a great show today. We've got the head coach of Huntington High School in Shreveport, 4A, Class 4A school, Steve Dennis. Steve Dennis is a great young coach going into year 4, does a great job. We're going to talk about Aaron Bean, who's committed to Louisiana Tech, 6'6", 270-pound lineman. And we also, in going into the segment 1, we're going to talk about the strongest players in the state, pound for pound, and some of the strongest big-time recruits, regardless of their weight and height. Just impressive feats. It took about 2 months to gather all this information. Jace Lejeune talked to a lot of recruits. I talked to a lot of recruits and coaches going back all the way back to February, gathering information. But stay tuned. After this segment, again, we're going to have Steve Dennis join us from Huntington High School from Shreveport. Man, what a lot of recruits are coming out of that school. And he's got some great players that are in the 222, 223 classes, and 221. But let's go ahead and go into our strongest kids in the state, pound for pound. And when I want to explain to the listeners, the dads and moms that are listening, the coaches, high school, college coaches, I'm going to go over not everybody because this would take 8 hours to do. But I'm going to go out with the top guys that we have with the most impressive lifts. And then we're going to talk about the best pound-for-pound players in the state in the weight room. And then we're going to talk about the big-time recruits that are strong, the guys that are being heavily recruited that are just strong. And we're going to talk about their numbers. But let's start with who I think is the best, most strongest player in the state in the clean, pound for pound. His name is Wyatt Coffey. Wyatt Coffey is a linebacker for Archbishop Hannon High School in the 221 class. He's 5'10 and a half, 193 pounds. And get this, he cleans 335 pounds. Take that in. If you're a coach, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're a college coach, high school coach, no one comes close to the 335 at 193 pounds. That's incredible. Wyatt Coffey is going to be a senior at Archbishop Hannon. He's a linebacker, can play fullback in college. He's grown an inch and a half going into his senior season. He's going to be he's a big-time leader for the team. His dad played at Navy. Jason Coffey was a heck of a player. His dad played at Catholic High Baton Rouge with Warwick Dunn and Kevin Franklin. But that's the clean. And look, here's an interesting stat about Wyatt. He benches 270, which is good. But what's incredible, he was born without a right pectoral muscle, which hinders you to lift more in the bench because you use that muscle. It isolates the pectoral when you bench. And to lift 270 without a right pectoral muscle is phenomenal. That's almost 300 pounds, and he doesn't even have the muscle he needs. Okay, and then his squat is 550. 550 pounds at 193 pounds. Some other kids that are small in weight. Romel Jones from Capitol High School in Baton Rouge stands 5'10", 175, squats 510 pounds. It's pretty impressive. Eunice's quarterback, Simone Ardon, who led his team to a state championship as a freshman, squats 405 pounds. He weighs 168 pounds, 5'8". The strongest little quarterback in the state. Dude is strong. Some other kids. Terrence Isaac, who's a receiver for Green Oaks in Shreveport. 6 foot, 175 pounds, cleans 305. Incredible. Adrian Green, a receiver DB from Mansfield, squats 345. He's 5'11", 175 pounds. Jerron Ellis, the smallest big-time player in the state, 5'10", 151, a cornerback for Green Oaks in Shreveport, squats 355 pounds at 151 pounds in weight. Unbelievable. The quarterback for Lake Charles Prep, Dylan Simeon, at 5'10", 180, squats 480. That's impressive. And he runs a 4.4. Boris Richard, out of Ouachita High School, running back, 6'2", 205 pounds, cleans 305. That's impressive. George Hart from Catholic High Baton Rouge, a running back, 5'8", 200 pounds, cleans 300. The quarterback from Hanville, Andrew Nakan, who stands 6'2", 182, not big at all, squats 465 pounds. Those are some impressive feats. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk about the big-time recruits in the state, regardless of their weight, that just have impressive maxes in the weight room. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. We'll be right back.
Hello, Sports Scouting Report fans. Like what you hear? Well, you're going to like our content at LAFootballMagazine.com. This week, check out our recruit spotlights on Ouachita Christian quarterback Hunter Herring, who has committed to the UL Raging Cajuns this past week, and Lake Charles College Prep quarterback Dylan Simon, who has committed to the South Alabama Jaguars. Also, make sure to check out our podcast and pre-order your North or South Magazine edition for this upcoming season. All that and more on LAFootballMagazine.com.
Welcome back. You listen to the Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. We're talking about the strongest kids in the state for football, pound for pound. Meaning, if a kid's 160 pounds, 5'9", can bench twice his body weight or close to that, we're talking about the clean, the bench, the squat, the power clean. It's impressive. You know, when I was in high school, we had a lot of guys on our team. I was fortunate in 1988 at Central High School. We probably had 15 kids that could bench 300 pounds. And we had about probably a dozen out of that 15 that did 315 to 330. And none of those kids were over 200 pounds. Even the ones that were 200 were probably 6'2", 6'3" in height. We had a strong team. I even did 305 at 165 pounds on a max, one rep, which I was proud of. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the big-time recruits in the state that carry a little more weight, but their maxes are incredible, overall incredible. Westlake High School, Eli Gose, squats 585, cleans 335, and benches 365. Eli is 270 pounds, 6'3", and look, at 270, to bench 365 is impressive. And almost 600 in the squat, and cleans 335. It's very impressive. Mandel Eugene, linebacker from St. Charles Catholic, who I think is a phenomenal player, deadlifts 505 pounds in the clean. At 210, he weighs 210 pounds. He squats 505, benches 315. John Martin, an offensive tackle from De La Salle in New Orleans, squats 565. Now, he weighs 330, 6'4", but that's still impressive. Sage Ryan from Lafayette Christian at 5'10 and a half, 202, cleans 285. Very impressive. Reginald Pierre. I've got to see this one. I know Reginald's told us this because this would be a record in the United States. From Hanville, stands 6'4", 345 pounds. Squats. Get this, people. He squats on a max, 655. Now, Reginald, I want to see that, but I trust you, man. I mean, he's told us that several times. Mason Smith from Terrebonne, who's got over 100 D1 offers, D-tackle out of Terrebonne, benches 355, squats 485, and cleans 315, which is impressive for a big man. And Gabe Leonards from Notre Dame, an offensive lineman, tight end, 6'3", 220. This is very impressive. Only 220 in weight. Benches 335, cleans 315, and squats 455. Lane Blue, a transfer from Cedar Creek, going to Neville, a running back, fullback, 6'2", 230 pounds, squats 585, benches 335, and cleans 290. Keenan Landry, who we had on our show a week ago from Jennings, a D tackle, a big-time D tackle, benches, get this, 375. Not bad, Keenan. Wesley Mays from St. Louis Catholic in Lake Charles benches 345 at 220 pounds. That's incredible. You don't see many guys under 230 benching 345. James Sanders, a running back from Green Oaks, 5'8", 210, squats 600, cleans 285, and benches 315. Now, we can't talk about all the 300 kids out of the 1,000 that were really impressive because, again, we would be here for 10 straight days. But later this year on our website, we're going to put all the kids on our website this fall on the strongest in the order, pound for pound, and then all the big guys that can do, great cleans, benches, and squats. I hope people like the segment. I've got to give kudos out there to Jason Coffey, the dad of Wyatt Coffey from Archbishop Hannon. He gave us the idea. He said, man, you need to do this. You need to go and find out who the strongest kids are because Jason Coffey was an Olympic lifter. And then Jason's son is currently Wyatt Coffey at Archbishop Hannon, and that 335 clean is just, man, that's just off the chart. I mean, I don't remember anybody, when I played high school football, we had some strong kids. I don't remember anybody ever doing 335 in the clean. It was hard to do 300 or 290 or 270, but to weigh 193 and to clean 335 is unbelievable. But I hope this segment was real good for everybody listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Coming up next is going to be our coach, Steve Dennis, from Huntington High School in Shreveport. Steve Dennis will be calling in. You'll love this segment. And we're going to go and take a break. When we come back, we'll have Steve Dennis from Huntington High School in Shreveport. We'll be right back.
Parents, are you looking for advice on getting your high school athlete recruited by the right college? Lee Brakeen is your answer. Lee has been doing it for over 30 years. He knows the ropes, and more importantly, he knows the people. Lee offers turnkey service from evaluation, creating highlight tapes in the correct format, and complete guidelines for effective communication with the schools. No matter the sport, girl or boy, no matter what grade your child is in, let Lee Brakeen help match your child to the right college fit. Go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com, and get connected today.
Hi, everyone. You're listening to the Sports Scouting Report with Lee Brakeen. We're back, and I want to introduce a special guest. I think one of the great, I still say, young coaches in the state from Huntington High School. That's Huntington High School in Shreveport. That's put out a lot of great players over the years. Kenny Davidson signed with LSU, was a second-round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jarrett Fobbs played at LSU. Troy Edwards was a heck of a player at Louisiana Tech. Remember Tim Rute? That connection was one of the best ever. And then currently they have a kid named Aaron Bean that's committed to Louisiana Tech, a big lineman, can play O or D line. But I want to introduce the head coach at Huntington in Shreveport, Steve Dennis. Steve, thanks for joining us, man.
Lee, thank you for having me, man. We appreciate y'all giving us an opportunity to brag on the students and the community of West Shreveport and Huntington High School.
Coach, we talked about it off the air, but this will be your fourth year at Huntington. And they've had a lot of coaches, come and go in the last 20 years that they just had trouble getting this team to the playoffs. And you were able to go 5-5 in an incredible tough schedule. I mean, people don't realize the scheduling and the teams you have to face. And you made the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. I mean, congratulations on that, man. I'm watching you from afar, and I'm watching your teams play, and you've instilled discipline, and you're developing these kids. And you can tell with the kids that are signing with colleges now that are coming out of the school. Great job for you and your staff, man. Great job last year.
Thank you. We have a great administration. The staff has done a great job, and we appreciate all the kind words. But it's really these kids, Lee. We just have they're special kids over here, and I feel like I think a lot of coaches would tell you this, but and I feel like I coach the best kids in the state.
Well, you know that it's a sleeping giant. You know that when you played at Louisiana College, you coached
Yes,
at
sir.
Louisiana College, you played high school ball. I want to let the public know at Parkway, which I forgot.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, but I remember now. I'm connecting the dots. I remember meeting you at Parkway when you played for Jim Gatlin, who you coached with Jim Gatlin for 8 of your years in coaching at Parkway. But you know, the talent at Huntington, I mean, if kids start believing and they're starting to believe, I mean, you've got talent there. There's always been talent at Huntington, but it's just putting it together. And I think you're onto something, Coach. And now kids have something to look forward to. You know this as a coach and all the coaches listening. If you can make the playoffs after not being in the playoffs for 10 years now, everybody wants to play football, right?
Yes, sir. We just worked hard to build a culture where our kids know that they're going to be held accountable, but they're going to be loved on. We've gone from about 30 players in the program my first year to we'll be close to about 115,
Man.
120. Now that's counting our freshmen. You know, most 4A programs, they'll count their grades 9 through 12
Right.
in the program. And it's just I've been very blessed to have a lot of really good mentors like Coach Gatlin. I was with him for a year at Parkway and then 6 years at Northwood. And, I played for Coach Dunn at Louisiana College, and Buck Buchanan, who's the head coach at Hendricks, and anybody in the state knows Vance Morris, who was coaching for 60-plus years and was a VP of football operations at Louisiana College. He's just one of the great personalities in our sport. Just he's a phenomenal person. And so, just try to take some of the things that they poured into me and try to pour it back into the kids. I've always heard that, coaching it's kind of like throwing a rock in the water and watching the ripples. And, we're a product of the people that coached us. And so, I've been thankful that I had great mentors and people around me to show me the right way to do things or to work hard to do things the right way.
Coach Dennis, we're listening to Coach Steve Dennis, the head coach, football coach at Huntington High School in Shreveport. Coach, we're going to take a break. Hold on, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I want to talk about his star lineman, Aaron Bean, that's committed to Tech. He's got some other players committed and also his current players in college now. We'll be right back.
Hello, Sports Scouting Report fans. Like what you hear? Well, you're going to like our content at LAFootballMagazine.com. This week, check out our recruit spotlights on Ouachita Christian quarterback Hunter Herring, who has committed to the UL Raging Cajuns this past week, and Lake Charles College Prep quarterback Dylan Simon, who has committed to the South Alabama Jaguars. Also, make sure to check out our podcast and pre-order your North or South Magazine edition for this upcoming season. All that and more on LAFootballMagazine.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Scouting Report with Lieber Keene. We have head coach Steve Dennis, the high school head coach at Huntington High School in Shreveport. Coach Dennis, let's talk about Aaron Bean. And he's committed to Louisiana Tech, a big lineman for you, 6'6", 270, depending on what hamburger, right? What day, could be 280. But, O-line for you, D-line, could play either in college. Louisiana Tech jumped on him early, had some other offers. And, look, this kid, as you know, might have some of those Power 5 schools come after him too because he's a late bloomer, right, Coach?
Yes, sir. And you could talk about a kid with Aaron's character all day long. Aaron is and I'll tell the story real quick. I love the NFL draft, so you always hear them talking about a kid's floor versus where their ceiling's at. And
Yeah.
Aaron is never near close to reaching his ceiling. What he'll be a year from now, 2 years from now, is just going to be amazing because the athleticism, the size, the desire, the work ethic. But he was a kid that played D-line for us his first 2 years. Played a little bit as a freshman, started as a sophomore, and we switched defensive schemes to a scheme that we just felt like didn't fit what he was good at the end, and we moved him to the offensive line. And, just to talk about his character, he's a kid that he came in the office and, hey, man, we're switching you to the offensive line. And his answer was, Coach, is that what's going to help the team? Yes, Aaron, that's going to help the team. All right, Coach, I'm going to do it. And so really he only played about 5 games at offensive line, last year, but when you turn on the film, you see a kid who has tremendous athleticism. He's not on the ground as an offensive lineman. He's chasing after guys second level to finish blocks. And I think that's really what's gotten the colleges interested in him. And he's being offered as an offensive lineman. I think he's got the ability to do both, but I think they really see him as a tackle, an offensive tackle at the next level. But he's just, he'll be the part of the senior class. It's our first senior class that's sitting with us. And he's such a tremendous leader. He's got a great family around him. His brother goes to Tech. His mom was a Tech graduate. His mom was an assistant principal at our school and has retired. And so he's just got a great support unit around him. And I really think Louisiana Tech got them just a really great player. They put together a really good recruiting class.
Yeah.
I just know they've got him. They've got the young man, Bruno out of Third, who I think is a great player. And then the running back out of Ruston, who's just a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
So, Coach Holtz and those guys over there, they're doing a really good job during this pandemic of, shoring up a good recruiting class.
And Aaron's going to be on the cover of our magazine this summer, which I know has got you pumped up, Steve, because it's been a while since we've had a Huntington kid on the cover. And
we're excited about it for sure.
And that'll be out late August. People can go to lafootballmagazine.com to pre-order a North copy or a South copy. He's on the North cover. Coach, talk about one of your other skill players that's committed to college right now, another sleeper from your program in this class.
Well, actually, we have a corner that's actually he's class of 2022, DeKelvion Beeman. So he's actually going to be a junior. He's verbally committed to Oklahoma State, but has offers from Virginia, Texas, Penn State, Mississippi State. I'm sure I'm leaving 2 or 3 of them off. Southern Miss just offered him, and man, he's another. Like I said, I feel like we have not just tremendous athletes, but kids that just have tremendous character. DK, that's what DeKelvion, his nickname DK is. He's just a special young man, tremendous work ethic. He's about 6'2", 180. So when you're looking to draw up of what a picture of a press corner looks like, he's probably what you're imagining in your mind. And what was really kind of interesting to me, and I might be wrong about this, but when Penn State offered him, and that happened right early in the pandemic, it just kind of made me kind of step back and go, you don't see the Big Ten get into North Louisiana very often. And so once I saw that offer, I was like, okay, this is fixing to explode for this young man. And really it has, and I don't think it's done. Because he's only going to be a junior.
Yeah, he's got 2 years left to show film, 2 full years.
He's got 2 years, yes, sir.
Coach,
yes, sir.
I wanted to tell you this. Started the magazine in 1997. And in 99, they had a kid at West Jefferson in New Orleans named Chris Cooper, a linebacker. He signed with LSU. He was a phenomenal player. He had a lot of injuries. And Penn State offered him. And do you know that he was the only Penn State offer in Louisiana for about 15 years in the state?
I did not, but I just knew. I just knew when I saw what shocked me is I said, okay, this really must be, he really must be fixing to really have some great opportunities.
Yeah.
You just don't see the Big Ten jump into the state of Louisiana. I don't ever want to misquote myself. I didn't know if maybe they were in New Orleans offering, but I couldn't remember a Big Ten offer for a North Louisiana kid, and really, I can't remember it,
Well, this is the main reason behind it is that their D coordinator, Brent Pry, was at ULL with Ricky Bussell for a few years. Brent Pry is over there. He's a friend of mine, and so Brent's trying to come over here, and this is the first year they're actually recruiting Louisiana hard. And in my 40 years of covering high school football, this is the first time they're really trying to come over here and get players. But, Coach, what's your thoughts on Shreveport and the teams that you got to play every week? I mean, when you strap the helmet up and you got to go against some of these offenses and some of these defenses, I mean, it's a challenge every week.
It is. I think over here, especially in Shreveport, and we look at the other areas, we kind of play some of the Monroe area schools too that are a part of our district this cycle, in the Nevilles and Bastrop. It's just a great quality of football. There's tremendous coaches in North Louisiana. There's tremendous coaches all over the state, but we got good coaches in the northern part of the state, and it's really, I liken it to, I'm sure, I think this term or this metaphor gets overused sometimes, but it's really like I'm sure what an SEC type team deals with, where you're looking at the schedule and you don't have a down week. You don't have a week where you can go, if we're not on our A game, if, we don't prepare properly, if we don't have the kids ready, we'll be okay. You don't have that, because generally when you look around the area of our state, most teams, if you're not prepared, they're going to come out and they're going to probably beat you and beat you soundly. So, it creates a drive. It can create a competition, to be at your best every day and every week. And I think that's a testament to the coaches of North Louisiana and the coaches of the entire state of Louisiana. There's a reason schools in Pennsylvania are trying to come and get our athletes, and I think that's a testament to all the coaches in our state.
Yeah, and Ohio State has a commitment from a DB from Warren Easton that actually moved back to Ohio. The kid was from Ohio, but Louisiana, they're nationally recruiting Louisiana. They've always done it, like you said, in the Big 12, Oklahoma, Texas. Even USC's always come over to Louisiana from the West Coast.
Yes, sir.
But Coach, any final thoughts about how your team's doing with how are they handling the pandemic, the virus, and I mean, what is it like to get back with your team and your coaches? It's got to be a relief for you to at least start something right toward the football season.
Yes, sir. It's just been we returned 18 out of the 22 starters that were on last year's team. So one, we're just incredibly excited about having the opportunity to build from last year and hopefully take another step as a program. The other days we were on another podcaster and they were asking me what it was like to start back on June 8th. And, I think I kind of summed it up like, sincerely, the best part of my day is when those kids that we have our freshmen in 6th hour weightlifting and our varsity in 7th hour, when they walk down the hall during the school day and I can fist bump them or hug their neck, or that is the best part of my day. It's why I wake up in the morning. I love what I do. I feel like we have the best profession that anyone could ever ask for. And, for 3 months, I didn't get to have the best part of my day. Now, I got to be around my kids a little bit more, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But when June 8th hit and, we've been practicing all the CDC, LHSAA, and Caddo Parish also has its own guidelines that they want us to follow. So we've been doing all that, staggering our groups and all that stuff. But just being able to see those kids and whether it's a social distance fist bump or a social distance air hug, man, it just makes your heart happy. And, if you're not in this business, I think every coach would tell you they're in this business for kids. And that's what makes this job special. And so I think it's something that our staff needed and that the kids needed. They're excited to be back. Attendance has been great. And it's just we're trying to get better every single day to prepare, to take the next step for our program next year.
Steve Dennis, we're listening to Steve Dennis, the head coach at Huntington and Shreveport. He's got a good football team coming back and some talent. And, Coach, final thoughts. I want to ask you this question, but, I've been in it since 91, and I go to a lot of the schools, and obviously, the colleges always have May to come in. And then when May's over, that's a huge month, as you know, because when, you were at Louisiana College doing this. When May is over, you got to get back to your college campus and start preparing for your season. And we lost May for college coaches to physically come down to high schools. And that hurt a lot. And, I mean, I know you can do the computer, and I know you can do the FaceTime, the visual, all that stuff. But, Coach, there's nothing like the college coaches visiting, right, coming in, sitting down, and meeting everybody, right? It's different.
It is, and it's more personable. I think, with the advent of technology, there's so many great things that, the huddle being online and kids being able to promote themselves. I think there's a lot of great things that come from that. I also think that sitting down and having a face-to-face conversation with a coach, or, that coach being able to sit down with that young man and shake his hand and see, does he make eye contact and things that we coach our guys up on. I think, that is almost, you don't want that to become a lost art in the days of technology that we have. So, that is something that we missed out on a little bit. I think it's set back kind of the recruiting cycle for some kids. I think it's gonna make them probably trying to get out in the fall during their bye weeks, or when the NCAA gives them, what open periods or contact periods that they can have. But I do think that, there's not a lot that can substitute for, just sitting face to face with a college coach and shaking their hand and being able to talk about your kids and being able to, for them to be able to see them if it's an open contact period and those things. You don't, with the advent of all the technology, you don't want to see that get pushed all the way to the side, because I think there's really great things that can come from it.
You're listening to head coach Steve Dennis, the head football coach at Huntington and Shreveport High School. Coach, I've got to ask you this, because later in the show, we've been preparing to do this for 6 weeks. We're going to talk about the strongest kids in the state, pound for pound, and we've interviewed over 1,000 recruits. And I want to give you the opportunity, and if you need a moment to think about it, that's fine, because I didn't tell you this before the show, but it's really cool, and it'll allow you to talk about one kid. If you could name one kid on your team, he didn't have to be a recruit, who is the strongest player on your team, pound for pound, and what sticks out? Is it the bench, the squad, or the clean, and do you know any of their numbers?
It is Edward Clark, Jr., which with you dealing with the scouting and all that, his dad was Edward Clark that played at BT Dub back, I think, maybe late 90s.
His dad was in our magazine. I had a picture of his dad in the magazine.
Sir. Yes, sir. Edward's about 5'10", about 205. He plays inside linebacker for us. He'll have an opportunity to become probably the all-time leading tackler by the end of this year. He's been he started since he was a sophomore year and played a whole bunch as a freshman. But his squat is what really stands out. He's a 500-pound plus squatter, 250 on the clean, over 225 on the bench, which, I'm not a big analytics guy, but there's certain benchmarks or certain checkpoints that you would love to see that you can kind of go back and evaluate your strength and conditioning program and see, okay, are we doing the things that we need to do in our strength and conditioning program, or do we need to change some things up? And I believe that, when how many kids do you have cleaning over 225? How many kids do you have benching over 225? Well, then the next benchmark would be, how many kids do you have cleaning and benching over 315? How many kids do you have cleaning, squatting over 415? And so he is just a tremendous athlete and a great kid. I told somebody the other day, his nickname is the President. He's a kid he's got a 4 point. I don't know that I think he's maybe made 2 Bs in high school. And so I tell people all the time, he's going to be running some Fortune 500 company, or he's going to be running the country. But he's just that special of a young man, and he's really impressive, to look at his frame and see how much weight per pound that he can move in the weight room.
Well, I want to tell all 1AA colleges in the state, hello, get on him,
yes,
right? Because he's definitely 1AA.
Yes,
he's instinctive, he's tough, and you can tell he's strong. And I was thinking,
he's starting to fill his frame out. He played at about 185 last year. So we're literally during a pandemic where we haven't been able. He's put on about 20 pounds. I think, by the time we start the season, he's going to be at 215, and he's got the length you want. It's just, sometimes it's getting these guys to understand that sometimes there's not a huge difference between 5'10", 5'11", and 6 foot. How
about Devin White, 5'11"?
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, 5'11", about 230. I mean, you know.
Yes, sir.
But you got to go watch North Webster play, and I remember seeing Devin White play, and when he ran the ball, I said, man, baby Bo Jackson, you know. And then he never ran the ball in college. He became an All-American linebacker.
He actually he played against us at Northwood when he was a freshman. We had a game that went down to the wire versus them, and you saw it when he was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
He was about 5'11", 200 pounds as a freshman, and you could see it. And then he just kept getting better year after year.
It was like a 500-pound weight coming your way with feet.
You had a choice. There was a train coming down the track, and you could either get out of the way or not. But the train was coming, and I think that's what made him special on the defensive side is he attacked the line of scrimmage and played defense with reckless abandon like that. And he's had a great start to his career in the NFL with the Bucs as well.
And if you're a smart high school kid, 150 pounds, you get real low when he's coming your way.
Yes, sir.
And just let somebody else try and take him down. Well, Coach, look.
Hold on until the Cowboys.
That's right. 8 of them. But, Coach, thanks for calling in. Good luck to you this fall. Obviously, I'm going to be watching your team again. And, y'all made the playoffs. And then the next step, I hope y'all can get to that second round. I know it's always the goal to just keep going, and I know you're getting there, and you've done a great job, Coach. Coach Steve Dennis, Huntington High School. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Lee. Thank y'all very much.
Okay, you were listening to Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. We'll be right back.
Parents, are you looking for advice on getting your high school athlete recruited by the right college? Lee Burkeen is your answer. Lee has been doing it for over 30 years. He knows the ropes, and more importantly, he knows the people. Lee offers turnkey service from evaluation, creating highlight tapes in the correct format, and complete guidelines for effective communication with the schools. No matter the sport, girl or boy, no matter what grade your child is in, let Lee Burkeen help match your child to the right college fit. Go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com, and get connected today.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen. Don't forget to subscribe to wherever you listen to our podcast, and also make sure to download our episodes to support our show. Also, Louisiana Football Magazine fans, we have some great news for you. Both our 2020 North and South Preview Edition magazines are available to pre-order on our website. Just go to lafootballmagazine.com and click at the top where it says Buy Magazine, and you are there. Both magazines cover all the high schools and colleges in the state, but there will be about 16 pages that will focus on North Louisiana as well as South Louisiana. Both our issues are expected to ship in late August, early September due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We also added a new wrinkle that we will now have the magazine digital this year as well. When you pre-order a digital copy, the magazine will be emailed to you when they are available late August, early September. Finally, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you back on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee Burkeen.